The views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's hosts, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am the show pony himself, David Rodgers, alongside Michael Heater, and joining us behind the camera and producing the show is our very own Mitchell Gunner, filling in for Dave Holland tonight, which is recovering from surgery. Great to have you along. Tonight's show is sponsored by Miracle Automotive and Towing. When you need automotive help, don't pray for a miracle, just call Miracle. And by Mitchell Gunner Racing, be sure to follow Mitchell's latest exploits and all things motorsports on our sister show, On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers, starring our host, Mr. Mitchell Gunner. We are changing the show up tonight just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, because we got special guests on with us tonight. We want to get them on, let them say what they got to say, and then we're going to move on with the other stuff. Don't forget, we still have what's the date, all that. Just stay tuned, and we'll get to that. But we'll start the show off, which we always do, with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the night. If I can there, Mr. Michael Heater, why don't you lead us in a prayer? You sound like you look and sound like you want to do the prayer.
I'll be happy to.
That sounds great.
Please. Our Lord and Heavenly Father, we thank you and we love you and we appreciate all that you do for us. We take the time now to ask for your blessings for those that are watching the show, for the men and the women that are protecting us at home and abroad, for the military that are out there protecting us day and night, for the first responders who are serving at home here day and night, protecting us, watching over us. And we thank you for those that are putting forth the effort, the energy, the time, the blood, the sweat, and the tears for helping keep our country going. The farmers, the truckers, the laborers that put in hours upon hours to take care of their families so that we can take care of our own. We ask for your blessings and guidance tonight over our special guests. We ask for your blessings for those that are watching, and we ask for your continued hand to guide and nourish our nation as we move forward in these trying times. It is for all these reasons and so much more, we thank you and we love you, and we ask for these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Right, let us stand for our pledge. I'm going to ask Mr. Mitchell Gunner if he'd lead us in our pledge tonight.
Be honored to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right, welcome into the show. My name is David Rodgers. Over to my left, you can't see him back there, is Mr. Mitchell Gunner, who is producing the show tonight. In for Dave Holland. Dave Holland had some surgery. He is recovering well, for everybody that wants to know.
Yes,
and Mr. Byron Bagwell, the Byron Bagwell,
that's right,
has a prior commitment, so he couldn't be here with us tonight, but I know he's going to be tuning into the show.
Right.
We have some really good, great, and special guests tonight, Mike.
We do
and
indeed.
While I am pulling up a patriotic quote, tell them what we got coming up, who we got coming up.
All right,
there.
so joining us this evening will be none other than Ronald Reagan and Walter Mont. No, I'm just
Hey, Ronald,
just rolling with that one like that. No,
I'll take him.
No, folks, Jimmy Smith and Rick Stevenson will be joining us momentarily in studio to talk about the world-famous barbecue event that is going to be going on.
The Rib Cook-Off for the Barnyard Fantasy Football League.
It is indeed. That's exactly right. It's coming up in here shortly. They're going to give us all the details on what to expect, what you can do to support the program, what you can do to enjoy the program, and so much more. After they get done, we have another special guest on the line and on the hook with us. It is indeed none other than Congresswoman Cammack. She'll be joining us shortly as well to talk about some of the adventures in D.C. as well as some of the things going on around the country that you need to know about. All that and so much more coming up here shortly. So as he gathers up our patriotic quote of the night, we will be prepared to move forward with that one. Have you got something?
I do. I
does.
sure do.
All right.
So here we go. For everybody, to include you guys. And by the way, this is your chance to share this with everybody, because that special guest is Miss Cammack, as Michael just said, Congresswoman, representing your district, the 3rd District, right here, 3rd Congressional District. So please inform everybody that she's going to be on, a chance for you to ask questions. I'm sure that she will answer as many of them as she can. Absolutely. And we're going to, like you said, we're going to talk to her about that and much more. All right, here we go. It will not be denied that power is of an encroaching nature and that it ought to be effectually restrained from passing the limits assigned to it. It is a founding father, I will give you that. So anybody want to take a guess, including our viewers out there? Mitchell, can you put the comments up there?
Yeah.
If you could?
Robert McGee has already popped in and said,
Okay.
Good evening, Robert. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Glad
absolutely.
to have you on board like that. I'm gonna say John Adams.
You're going to say John Adams.
John
Okay,
Adams.
all right. That's a very good guess, by the
I
way.
know I pick this a lot, but it sounds like something Benjamin Franklin would say.
Sounds good. Good, 2 good guesses.
And not opposed to Thomas Jefferson. Something.
You like Thomas? That's a great guess.
Benjamin.
You're going with Benjamin. Y'all are all very close, but that was said in 1788 by James Madison.
Oh.
Yep.
Missed it by
That much.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine like that one.
I got one quick one. Oh, let's see. McGee said Jefferson. Nice guess, though.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah,
And Jason Vaught, Sarge. I work with him over there in Lake City. Hello, Sarge.
There you go.
There we go.
Hello,
Keep
hello.
tuning in. All right, here we go. One quick one.
Okay, real quick.
I am not a friend to a very energetic government. It is always oppressive. This is a founding father.
Read that again.
Okay. I am not a friend to a very energetic government. It is always oppressive.
Thomas Paine.
Good guess. Let's see. Good evening, Miss Shirley Bagwell. You got anybody?
Ooh, absolutely not.
Okay.
I like Thomas Paine. I'm going to go Washington.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll go Washington.
I'll tell you what. I'll give y'all all another guess.
Okay.
This was a letter written to James Madison by this famous founding father back in 1787.
Thomas Jefferson.
You got Jefferson. Great job.
I'm going with Jefferson.
You're going Jefferson. Might as well stick 3,
I'm gonna
right?
stick with
You want to
Jeff.
stick 4?
No, I'm going to take Ben Franklin.
You're going to take Ben Franklin.
Sure.
You should have joined the bandwagon.
I should
It
have
is
joined the
Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, you should have joined the bandwagon.
That's fine.
That's all right. Hey, great quotes of the night. Byron usually here to do that again. He's out on a special assignment. He had other plans, but he will be with us next Tuesday. I'm ready to get into our guests. So, hey, don't go anywhere, because our special guests, Jimmy Smith and Rick Stevenson, will be joining us right after this commercial break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am your host, David Rodgers. You just seen Michael Heater and heard from Michael Heater. Great prayer, by the way. He is going to be filling in for Mr. Byron Bagwell tonight. Again, Mr. Dave Holland's out. We've got Mitchell Gunner filling in as producer, and he hosts his own show. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But let's get right to it. I've got 2 great friends that I've known for a very long time. Y'all know them as well. You've seen them around the community. To my left, I've got the one and only Jimmy Smith, not the wide receiver from the Jaguars, but the actual Jimmy Smith. He's actually better. He's got better hands. And to my right, he is the man. I got to tell just a quick little story. Rick, I was unemployed there back in about 2010 when they shut the mill down. Ran into Rick doing trivia with when I used to have another host that used to host trivia with me, Mr. Steve Wicks. And I ran into Rick and Jimmy. And Rick actually landed me at FedEx, got me started there. And that's carried over to what I'm doing now, Rick. So I really appreciate all your help with that. And it's been a wonderful friend since then. This is Mr. Rick Stevenson. Hey, guys, I got y'all in here tonight. Of course, y'all are our very first guests because after you guys, we've got our Congresswoman, which I know y'all want to hear from, Miss Cammack, and she's been doing some great things for us within our government. So let's talk about an event that's coming up on August the 27th, just a few weeks away. It's the annual Rib Cook-Off, sponsored by the Barnyard Fantasy Football League. The Barnyard Fantasy Football League includes, do we got 12 teams this year, Rick, or was it
We
still
have
10?
12 teams this year.
So it's 12 teams this year. We all play in a fantasy football league. All of us coming from diversified backgrounds, different people, but we all get together collectively and we play fantasy football. We have a good time. These gentlemen right here always throw a good time, put on a good time for us, and we'll get into some of those things later. But right now, we want to talk about that event that's coming up. Second annual, really, if we want to call it that, because last year we did one. Turned out to be pretty good. So the date was picked, August the 27th, Saturday. Rick, what time does this event start? And tell us, you and Jimmy can both confer in. What time does it start, and what are we doing it for, and what's going on?
First off, the event is for the local Shop with Cop program.
Right.
We're getting a lot of support from the community for this, and we feel really good about it. The event will officially kick off at 10 a.m. We're going to have our contestants out there cooking ribs prior to that, and we're going to have our vendors coming in 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning setting up, and we're going to officially kick off at 10 o'clock. We're going to have musical guests starting at 11. Of course, you're going to be doing the DJing in between, Dave.
Right.
And it'll end officially there in the neighborhood of about 6 o'clock. And this is our second year out on the square, but of course we've been doing this for years and years in private, as you know.
Right.
And our Barnyard Fantasy Football League, I think this is our 14th year.
14th, isn't it? Is it 14th season?
We
Starting 14 or starting 15?
We started in 2009.
2009.
Okay, so
But I think because of the season.
seasons, right? Yeah, right. That's right.
So,
Yeah. So, Jimmy, you just heard Rick explain a little bit what's going on there. Tell everybody that doesn't know the integral parts of it like we do about this competition, these guys that are going to be cooking. And I had somebody ask me, can I join in on this rib cook-off? And if that's the case, how do you do that? And if they can't, maybe what they need to do for next year.
well, first off, I believe we have a couple more spots available. They'll go to bfflevents.com. That has all the information you need on it. It shows the schedule of the events and stuff. It shows our lineup for our musical performances, prize money, and if you just want to be a vendor, you want to sell your wares and stuff like that, you go on there and sign in. Give us your email address. We'll have a little spot down there, and let us know, and then we'll be back in contact with you.
All right, sounds good. Any numbers that y'all want to give out, Rick, or y'all want to keep those private? Any numbers where they can call you in case they can't?
No, that's fine. My number
Okay.
is 904-263-0556. That's also listed, I believe, on the BFFL site, and I've been handing out business cards with mine and Jimmy's number on it there. If Jimmy wants to give his number out, he can. If
Absolutely. Mine's, if you can't reach Rick or you want to reach me, it's Jimmy Smith. It's 352-745-0238.
And we have a comment up there, and I believe the answer is yes. Eddie Sigmund said, "Is Dwight cooking in it this year?"
We've talked to Dwight, and he said he was.
He said he was. Okay, Eddie, your answer is yes, at least to this point.
He can come in second place behind me.
Okay, there you go. So, Rick, you're not cooking this year because you're sort of coordinating, and I think between you and Jimmy, y'all know how much work has to be done with just the coordinator's position. So, you're trying to coordinate the event, you're trying to cook, just doesn't work. So, Jimmy's going to cook this year, you're going to coordinate what's going on. So, if anybody has any questions, probably should refer them to you, right? As far as
absolutely. I'll take and field all questions and everything. I don't know. You did answer about the contestants, correct? Because we do have 4 openings. I want to get out there. We got 4 openings left for anybody in the community that might be interested in cooking. The entry fee for the rib cook-off is for $125, and that includes your ribs and everything. I need to stress and let you know, on this rib cook-off, you cannot use gas, you cannot use pellet
Glad
oil.
you said that.
You have to use charcoal and wood. If you have one of them big charcoal grills and you want to use a little gas to maintain your heat, we will allow that, but just cooking on gas and everything, no. But that price does include the ribs and everything, and other than a pittance paid out to the winner and the trophy, all that will go to the Shop with Cot program as well.
No easy bake ovens.
yeah, no easy bake. Yeah.
Gordon tried one.
Gordon did try that one time, didn't he? Well, that backfired on him, by the way, didn't it? Didn't come out very well, did it?
That's why he's sticking with being a judge.
There you go.
I mean, this event is to raise, like we've been saying, raise money for Shop with the Cop. For every $100 that we raise in this event, a child gets to go shopping in early December, whatever. So the more money that we bring in, the more kids get to.
And Jimmy,
have a
the
good
numbers
Christmas.
has been, and Rick, the numbers have been increasing. Yeah, I know y'all work very close with Barry Warren. Those numbers have really, really risen here the last several years. Because, like I said, the more money that comes in, of course, the more kids that you can take shopping. That's for sure. And the smile on those kids' faces, man, and just the warmth and the sincerity when y'all take those kids shopping. You wouldn't believe what they tell you. These guys have heard everything. Anybody that's went on one of these trips, which I have, you would not believe what these kids don't even think about themselves. They're thinking about others. They're thinking about their mothers, their sisters and brothers, their fathers.
I have to remind them, I'm like, look, because they want to get something for their brother, their mom, their pet, and all that stuff. I'm like, look, this is for you, and I'm sure, we can assist or something will come along for other family members, but you've been chosen to be the one for you. So we don't deter them from buying for other people and stuff, but it's mainly for them. And like I said, and we raised several $1,000s last year, and just in sponsorship. Rick's been working his
this year so far. We're really getting some good sponsors from out there. And when our time zoning out, I'd like to mention some of them sponsors too.
Absolutely, I would definitely like you to. And again, welcome into On the Spot with David Rodgers. We have a great show tonight. 2 of our guests right here: Barnyard Fantasy Football League Commissioner and Co-Commissioner. I am the secretary, I guess. What is a treasurer? Is it what is it? Who's the secretary?
Finance officers.
The chief finance CFO. Okay, yeah, the chief flunky officer, by the way, that stands for. But anyway, got these guys in Barnyard Fantasy Football League 2nd annual rib cook-off. As far as it goes for the public, like you guys said, been doing this a long time. Some of those ribs are housed. Guys, I'm telling you, if you don't come to one event this year, you need to come to this one. You're talking about some ribs that are absolutely delicious. Absolutely. It doesn't matter who cooks them. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm glad John don't have me as a judge this year. I'm glad you just got me as a backup. I'd rather DJ and MC this thing, because that gets harder and harder, Jimmy, each and every year to pick a winner, because y'all have just elevated your games up, and it's hard to choose a winner.
I've let other people win the previous years, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the winner this year.
Okay.
Either way, it's all
It's only because I bailed out on it.
See, I knew this was coming.
You know, so, but we also out there, not only the ribs and the great food, we're going to have bounce houses and
Yes.
the other things, you know, for the kids and everything. So, you know, we want it to be a great community event that's family oriented and such. There will be a couple adult beverages.
Okay, of course. It's a.
You know,
that's right. That's right.
But it's
That's
still
right.
going
That's
to be
right.
family friendly
Sure.
and everything. And we look forward to the community coming out and having a great time and helping us put together this great event, because we can't do it without the community.
No, and you're exactly right. Rick, I know we're getting ready to wrap up. I want to mention a couple of things. First and foremost, y'all mentioned where they can go as far as you know, the entrance. You still got 4 left. You know, you still got a couple of vendor spots left, or are you full?
No, we still have a few vendor spots left. So
Okay.
filling up quick. Just add 2 more today.
Okay, so they just added 2 more today. But you can also email us here on the spot, 32091 at gmail.com. That's on the spot, 32091 at gmail.com. You can email us here if you're interested in being a vendor. If you're interested in cooking, I will make sure, Michael, Mitchell, Byron, and myself will all make sure that these guys get the information so they can go ahead and get you on the docket. All right, that's August the 27th, Saturday, right after the Tornadoes' first official football game over at Baker County, which we're going to win.
Absolutely.
Which we're going to win. Then you can come celebrate on Saturday with these guys right here. What's the times again, Rick?
Kickoff starts at 10 o'clock.
I like that.
Vendors will be setting up at 9 o'clock. You're going to be there starting to DJ at
early.
10 o'clock.
Yep.
And
Our first performer comes on at 11.
11? Yep.
And
Performers, who are they, by the way? Let's go ahead.
we have Maddie Cunningham
Okay.
starting off. She's a performer out of Fernandina Beach, up in that area, but she comes down here and does some karaoke, guitar playing, a couple of local scenes. She's going to kick it off. Then we have Matt Willsey and his band with Ricky Thompson, and then it's going to take.
Very good band, by the way.
I love listening to
Yeah, I do too. I like all of them.
Absolutely.
Our headliner will be Stephen Flowers, and he has with Nick Pergoni.
Okay.
Their band is Modern Outlaws.
Modern Outlaws, yeah.
Outlaws, but just them two is going to perform. But we listened to them this last Saturday night, and it's just awesome.
Outstanding,
awesome show. Absolutely.
So y'all will be entertained. There's going to be all kinds of things out there. Rick, as we get ready to close out, I want to first and foremost thank you guys for coming on. Let's talk the week, either that Tuesday before the event or the Tuesday before that. Let's come back on and let's remind everybody again, if you guys can.
Absolutely.
And we'll remind these guys again of what's going on. But go ahead and give a shout out to all your sponsors there that help make this happen.
Definitely, because without the sponsors in this community coming together for this community event, it'd be hard to put something this magnitude together. But I want to give a shout out to Libby's Massage and Wellness, Jackson Building Supplies, Beef O'Brady's, the Downtown Grill, Dick's Wings, Whiskey River. Can't forget our own right here, local Bradford County Sheriff's Department.
That's right.
Stark Police Department, Lawdy Police Department, the North Florida Chamber of Commerce, Fun Point.
Fantastic.
The Fantastic Fire Brigade.
Fantastic Fire Brigade.
Yep.
Murray's Automotive Super Group, Miracle Towing, which supports Mike over there, Capital City Bank, and MHD Rockland out there at the Keystone Airport.
Right.
Jim Lawrence Trucking.
Wow.
And Johnny's Barbecue out of Keystone Heights. Yeah. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but I appreciate everyone. You got any?
We'll catch you on next.
Yeah, we can catch them on the next time you come on. Yeah. But I tell you, Rick. Huh? Yeah, absolutely. But what I wanted to say was I'm so very impressed on the list of sponsors from last year, Jimmy, to this year.
Yeah.
My goodness, you had 10, 12, 13 people.
The event is growing. It is.
Wow. I do want to add one more thing, and these guys know it. It's just been a little timing issue. We were wanting also to throw a Texas Hold'em tournament before this event, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do it before this event. But I'm going to get with these two fine gentlemen and the owner of the Downtown Grill, which y'all all know is Chrissy Thompson. We're going to talk to her, and we're going to put a date together. After this event, we are going to host a Texas Hold'em tournament. $50 buy-in, looks like right now, unless we decide to change that, and we'll get into more information on that. But we're going to get into that, guys, and we'll raise more money for the Shop with a Cop program.
Absolutely.
So,
and anybody that's got a election coming up in November that might want to jump in and sponsor this, get some signage out there.
There
Please,
you go.
please get a hold of us. We'd love to have you.
All right. Guys, thank you very much for coming on. We'll do this again either the week before or the week of the event, just to remind everybody and get more information out. Jimmy Smith and Rick Stevenson for the BFFL Barnyard, stands for Barnyard Fantasy Football League, putting on the second annual Rib Cook-Off. Guys, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks,
you know I love
Dave.
you, each and every one of you. We got another special guest, your Congresswoman that represents District 3 in your House of Congress, and Congress, Miss Cammack, will be coming on. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Stark, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Spot with David Rodgers. Michael is rearranging some things. Can't see she's smiling back there. She goes, "What just happened to the camera back there?"
The Blair Witch Project all of a sudden.
Yeah, just a little bit of technical issues, but we got you back.
We're good.
Yeah, so, Kat, thank you for coming on and joining us. I know we spoke a few months ago. You gave us sort of what was going on with you and what you were doing up there in D.C. and what was happening in Congress. I'm going to give you just a few minutes to say hello to everybody, and just before we get some question and answers, how you been doing, what's been going on, and I want to ask you some things about what's upcoming if you get reelected to fill the seat again.
Yeah, sure. No, it's great to see you guys. Always a pleasure to be with you fellas. And for those of you that are watching that don't know me, I am Kat Cammack. I currently serve as your voice in our nation's capital. I'm married to a first responder. My husband, Matt, is a 15-year career firefighter, SWAT medic in Gainesville.
Has it been 15 already?
I know.
Thanks for Matt was my rookie when I was captain, and thanks for making me feel really. Thank you. Great.
You know what?
Thank you.
It's crazy because when we
15 years.
met,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Matt and I have been together for 8-ish plus years.
Wow.
And the other day it hit me. I'm like, have you really been with the department for 15 years? And he's like,
Oh, cow.
trust me. I feel the exact same way.
Good. Well, I'm glad he's doing well.
Yeah, but he's doing great. He's actually taking care of chickens right now. So we call Gainesville home. We've got some chickens, ducks, and dogs, and no babies yet, but that will happen soon, I'm sure. And we are proud to represent and really to have a role in upholding constitutional values and principles. And let me tell you, I have made a name for myself as Nancy Pelosi's least favorite member of Congress. My goodness, she does not enjoy me.
Well, I want to say before you go on, Mr. Byron Bagwell, you know Byron that usually sits over here with the. Mr. Byron Bagwell had a prior commitment, and he wanted me to say to you, he is so very sorry that he couldn't be sitting here because he really, really wanted to see you and talk to you. He had some great questions for you, but we're going to try to do our best. But Byron says that he hated to miss you, but he will try to catch up with you at some point.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And we will 100% be around. I've been actually for the last 8 weeks about been in Washington. So Nancy Pelosi controls the schedule, and the way that Congress works is it's year round. So you are constantly in Washington, and the speaker controls the calendar. So typically I would get the opportunity to come back on weekends. But there have been times where it's such a short turnaround that I'll typically only get 12 hours back home, which is really just enough to come home, do a load of laundry, clean up the house a little bit, and, kiss my husband and head right back to DC. So I'm here for the month of August. I can't tell you how good it feels to be out of the swamp and with some sane people who I know and love and really just don't put up with the nonsense that DC continues to push out. But it's been a little crazy. I know that, you don't have to go to the gas station and pay $5 a gallon for gas to know that things aren't going great. You don't have to run to the local Walmart and find, empty shelves of baby formula to know that the supply chain and this administration have completely screwed everything up. And you don't have to be driving around town seeing busloads of illegals being dropped off to know that the open border policies are absolutely killing our country. It's pretty bad all around. And to have a front row seat where we're not only engaging with, holding this administration accountable, but then on top of it, really exposing the nefarious activities of this administration and of the left, what they try to do. It was Friday of last week that we were getting ready to leave. We had flights. Everybody was going to be leaving about noon on Friday. Nancy Pelosi, in the wee hours of the morning, decides we're going to put a federal weapons ban up for a vote. Now, as a constitutional conservative, I, of course, am an absolute hell no vote. It was no question about how I was going to vote. But the process is so messed up that they put legislation on the floor for a vote that you don't have time to read, that they have changed the rules so that the bill on the floor cannot be read out loud so that everyday citizens can engage in the process. And I think it's just absolutely ridiculous that the entire agenda of the left has been about dependency and control and take. And they want to control every aspect of our lives. And then on top of it, make us pay for it. And so whether it is the Build Back Broke bill that I'm probably going to get recalled up to Washington to vote on, this $1 trillion package in a couple weeks, or the federal weapons ban that is total nonsense. I don't understand why the left cannot wrap their heads around shall not be infringed. Seems pretty clear to me. All these things that they do to make our lives worse is what we are up against. And I know that sounds all pretty depressing, but the good news is that we are taking back the House in the most overwhelming way that people will have that shock and awe. And to really put it in perspective, Republicans in the last 100 years have not taken back the House but for 4 times.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
I thought it a lot more than that.
Yeah, I certainly did. Only 4 times in the last 100 years have Republicans taken back the House. And so this will be the 5th time, and I think it'll be by the largest margins. And so not only have we been busy fighting back against the Pelosi, Schumer, Biden agenda, exposing the crazy hypocrisy control agenda of the left, fighting back on this, but then we've also been working to help candidates across the country who are constitutional conservatives, who love this country, who are going to go and fight for it. But more than that, these are like blue collar type folks. These are folks like me and my husband who, we grew up with no political connections, no money, single parents. That's the type of person who's had that adversity and that grit that they're going to have a backbone when they get to Washington. Those are the types of people that we've been helping around the country. And so I'm pretty excited about what's coming in November. And I do think that not only will we take the House, but I think we're going to take the Senate. And that is going to set the stage for 24 in a big way. So hang on to your britches because it is going to be spicy and lots of fireworks.
Kat, I know Michael's got a question, and I just want to reiterate what you said. I know you've been watching our show when you can, and we've been preaching about how so important it is to go out and vote in these midterms that are coming up. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. So, hello there. And how important these midterms are. Because, like you said, this is a chance for the fifth time, like you just said, where the Republicans can gain control back, not only of the Congress and the House of Representatives, but the Senate as well. And that's going to make a big difference on the agendas that you guys are fighting. It's going to give you guys the majority whip now instead of the minority whip. And that's always a good thing, especially if you're a conservative like you are and like we all are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that's really concerning, I think, from our perspective is that we're seeing a lot of enthusiasm for Republicans to take the House back, but so many people have kind of come to the conclusion that it's going to happen that they're staying home because they're like, there's no way that we're not going to win. So, I'm just going to, take it easy. Keep in mind, I serve with people in the House of Representatives who won their election by 6 votes. Like, to me, that is just so nerve-wracking. And I've asked them, when they go through the stories of how it all happened. I mean, we've seen some of the crazy election charades and games that have been played around the country. And when people say, "Oh, my vote doesn't really matter," tell that to one of my colleagues from Iowa who won her race by 6 votes, or out of New York who won hers by 28 votes. Everybody's vote counts, and it's so important to get out. Never take it for granted, because the left would love nothing more than for us to sit home and just think that we have it in the bag. So we're going to run right through the tape all the way through to November.
See, and that's the perfect spot. That's exactly what I've been promoting on this one here. And it doesn't matter whether you're running as you are, at the national level, representing us in Congress, right down to the local level for city and county commissioners. Every vote does indeed count. Yes. I'm facing that same thing, so I appreciate what you're saying, because it does indeed make a difference. My question for you is this one. You started to address it, and I want to just make sure that we're kind of, because now I'm just more curious than anything else. Has there been any discussion, and are you at liberty to discuss changes in the leadership when this red wave comes ashore, in November? Are you looking at, has there been any talk about who would be taking over, who's filling leadership roles, whether it be on committees, whether it be the speaker or anything like this one? Can you give us any insight as to what you think we could be seeing in the coming months?
That's a great question.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. And it's interesting. It's kind of that time of the season where people start kind of jockeying for all these roles.
Right.
And there was a great point made by a colleague of mine who said no one should be talking about these leadership races or any of these things until after we absolutely dominate the November elections, because all of that stuff happens after November anyways. So all these, outside group things, caucus leadership, all the committee leadership, those chairmanships and gavels, and all the quote unquote leadership races for speaker and whip and majority leader and conference chair, and all those races, that all happens in November, December, and January. Okay. And so I think it's really easy for people to get caught up in the what ifs. But if we don't win big in November, all that is pointless. All those comments and speculation, it's all pointless. The thing that I will say, though, is we are really lucky right now, especially being in the middle of hurricane season. I serve on Homeland Security, that committee, and I have a gavel on a subcommittee, which is the Subcommittee for Emergency Preparedness, Response, and Recovery. And for a state like Florida, that's a huge, huge deal. And of course, being married to a firefighter, I of course feel a little bit, passionate, actually a lot passionate about these issues with the fire service. And so, I would be looking in the future after reelection to have the committee chairman, the subcommittee chairmanship of that particular sub. And so those are all like the insider baseball things that, people have talked about. But there has been quite an undercurrent of, we don't want to snatch victory or defeat from the jaws of victory, right? I mean, we want to make sure that we run through this tape. And so I think there's a lot of speculation of what could happen, but all that is going to depend on who wins their races, who loses their races. And really, come November, if we don't have this historic win, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to have explaining to do.
Hey, Kat, I'd like to read a few comments from some of our viewers. Mr. Dave Holland, who couldn't be here, who's our producer tonight, he just had some surgery, so he's recovering from surgery. He said, "Hello, Congresswoman. I loved your podcast the other night as you were leaving the Capitol. Thank God you didn't get soaking wet." You remember that?
I do. I tell you, I was so mad. That was the vote. We ended up having to stay late, and it was about 9 o'clock. I was 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was walking off the House floor. And that's when Nancy Pelosi had done the federal assault weapons ban. Keep in mind, this is the asinine nature of what the left does. They don't even know anything really about the Second Amendment. They are not sportsmen. Many of them do not own any firearms. I had someone on the left try to explain to me what they thought an assault weapon was. And if it wasn't so sad, it would be comical, because really it is troubling the effort that they put into infringing on our Second Amendment rights. But yeah, I was really frustrated because, again, it was another situation where they were just so proud to pass this bill to say that we're going to have a federal assault weapons ban, knowing full well that the Senate was not going to pick it up. It's political theater is what it is. And so walking off the House floor, I tend to do that a lot where I go Facebook Live because I want people to see behind the curtain of what really is going on in Washington, because the mainstream media will never tell you what is really going on. And so walking off the House floor, I decided to go down the steps, and we'd been on the floor voting for hours. So I had no idea what was going on outside. And of course I walk outside and it's raining. So I walked outside and I'm like, oh, it's raining. Okay, well, here we go.
And I'm gonna get to that. This is so great.
Yes,
I'm gonna get to that. Because I want to get everybody. I've got to ask you about something, but we'll get to it here in just a second.
The way you're laughing,
our city manager. No, it's going to be funny.
You'll like it.
You'll like it.
You'll like it.
You'll like it.
Trust us.
Our city manager, Brandon Ludwig, said, "Shout out to the Congresswoman for showing up at the Stark Splash Bash and having our team at so many events in our community." Yes. He said, "Bradford's got your back."
Yeah.
I tell you what, that was so awesome of an event. And that event's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And Brandon and the whole team, y'all just absolutely rocked it. I love Bradford County. I mean, just amazing how you can take an idea and then pull it through. I mean, you had quite a crowd out there. I mean, that was a major undertaking, and I bragged on y'all. And again, I cannot wait for next year. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And how hot it was, my gosh.
Yeah. So what was funny about that is when I started putting the plan together, I planned for 500 people, and then once sports started getting out, and kudos to Brandon. I know Brandon was served on your team for a while, and now, of course, he's community services director for the city.
You're right.
Brandon's kind of he and I we meet regularly. We talk like that. So I thought, well, maybe we had to bump the numbers up like that one. We thought for 2000. I don't know if you heard from Brandon or not. We had over 5,000 people turn out, and we're expecting that number to potentially double next year. So we've already started laying the groundwork for planning for that event, of course, and then I kind of got roped into a little Christmas on Call Street action and a bunch of other stuff. We'll deal with that later.
A bunch of stuff that we get roped into. But with
that being said, I myself, and I know we got more comments like that one, and all the exciting things that happen in our community. Nothing has generated more excitement than baseball.
Yeah, can I get to it? Let me. I'm gonna lead up to that. Let me lead up to that. Yeah. So Byron, again, Byron's jealous of us guys because he couldn't be here tonight to talk to you. But hey, that's okay. He'll get back. Shout out to Kat. Oh yeah. Let's see. You rock, Kat, from a couple of guys.
Lots of comments.
Lots of comments on that. They said they love your honesty. I had Eddie Sigmund say this, and you hit up on this a little bit. Said if you get Nancy Pelosi out of there, it will be one of the best things for this country.
Oh, man.
You sort of referenced that a little bit.
So, like I said, I've been working really hard on earning the title of Nancy Pelosi's least favorite member. But there have been moments, and I swear I don't plan this. It just kind of happens with the timing on the House floor. She'll bring bills to the floor, things like late-term on-demand abortion bills, which I think are some of the most horrific, gut-wrenching issues that, we take on and we fight for life on. And she manages always to get in front of me and speak right before me. And the way that it works, the rules on the House floor are it goes Republican, then Democrat, then Republican, then Democrat. So you alternate, but the Speaker of the House has what is called a magic minute, meaning that time kind of stops. So we all get a certain amount of time, like I'll get 2 minutes and then they'll start gaveling me down, which they tend to do a lot because they don't like what I have to say. Or, the speaker, she can get up there and she can talk forever if she wants. It's called, the speaker's privilege to have a magic minute.
Right.
And so she always manages to get right in line before me to speak. And she creates a really good opportunity for me to highlight some distinct differences in our approach. And one of the things that I have actually mentioned to her, which she doesn't appreciate, is the fact that she has served as a member of the swamp for 36 years, which is 2 years longer than I have been alive. Now, if there was ever a case for term limits, she is it. And they don't like it when we point those kinds of things out. And so Nancy Pelosi is on her whirlwind tour right now, really just throwing any liberal progressive agenda item at the wall to see what sticks, knowing full well that the Senate's not going to pick it up, that it's not going to pass, it's not going to become law. She's just using the House as a way to raise money and to create a legacy, which is really to the detriment of Americans. But she's not going to be around. Trust me. She is not going to serve in the minority. My sense is she says she's running now. She'll get reelected because San Francisco is, I don't even know how does she get reelected in San Francisco? I don't know. But she's going to get reelected. She's going to end up losing the speakership, and then she's going to retire because it's about her. And if she doesn't have the power, she's not going to serve in the minority. I guarantee you that. So this is her last hurrah.
All right, Miss Shirley Bagwell, Byron's mother says our votes really matter, is what we talked about a little bit. Kathy Butler says, thanks for caring. She says, can you ask our Illinois Congress to give a darn about the people, please, like you do?
There's some really interesting but great candidates running in Illinois. And one of the things that I feel really strongly about is having members that communicate with their constituents. So like doing the Facebook Lives and really explaining what's going on. I've had some of my colleagues, actually quite a few of them, come up to me and they're like, hey, listen, my constituents are sending me your videos asking if I'll do the same thing. So can you work with me on this? And I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. But then I have to laugh because not everyone they don't always feel comfortable with social media. And so it's a work in progress, but my goal is to make Congress collectively more responsive, accountable, and transparent for everybody. Because what I'd say often is, even if you can't vote for me, I vote for you every single day as a member in the House of Representatives. So it's really important that we fight for more transparency, accountability, and accessibility in Congress. That's been missing for a long time.
One of the things that us boys are very passionate about, I know Mike, firefighter, of course, first responder, just like your husband is, very passionate about that. But a couple of things I'm very passionate about, and I think you've heard me say it. One is our farmers of America.
Yes.
I think that they get a raw deal, but that's another thing that we can talk about here in a little bit. But it's also our truck drivers. I think these guys are front lines of America. You're not going to get your product without those truck drivers. So I've got a great friend of mine, Michael Boxon, one of Mike's friends. He says, ask Miss Cammack, what, if anything, they plan on doing about the shortage of semi-truck parking. I've sent some messages to her. She's been busy. She hadn't had a chance to respond. But he wants to know if you've had a chance to look at that and what you think about that.
On the parking or the truck driver shortage?
A little bit of it both, but he was mainly asking about semi-truck parking. I guess they're having problems parking in several areas, and they're telling them to move those type of things there.
Yeah. Well, and of course, feel free to, you guys have my contact information, feel free to
Yep.
get them in touch. One thing I'll say about this, and then I wanted to address that issue because it's so important. And you hit on our farmers and ranchers, which again, I mean, that's, if you have a meal today, thank a farmer. So when you communicate with Congress, a lot of people try to go through social media channels, and at the rate that we get messages, it's just no way for us to bring or filter those in. And the way that Congress works, and I think this is pretty crazy, if you do not live in that member's district and you try to reach out to them, we're prohibited by law from responding out of our official congressional offices. It's this crazy rule. So like I'll have people in say Tallahassee or South Florida, and they'll get in touch with me and they'll say, hey, listen, I've tried to send you an email through your website and I can't, or I don't get a response. And I have to tell them, well, by law, I can only respond to my constituents. And it's a really crazy thing, and it's really set up in a wonky way that people feel like they're not getting responses, but a lot of the time it's because we're prohibited in certain ways from the rules, because the rules in Washington are kind of crazy and a lot of times don't make sense. But a safe way to get in touch is there's phone numbers, and for both our official and unofficial offices, and you can always get in touch with us through those. So don't ever think that we're ignoring or trying to avoid responding to folks. So that's a good way to get in touch, is through the phone numbers on both the official side and the unofficial campaign side. To your point about the truck drivers, though, this is what's crazy is I think everyone's aware that we have a truck driver shortage in America. And I think COVID really highlighted that the trucks never stopped. Our truckers were on the front line doing an incredible job of still moving product. They never took the time off. They never said, oh, I'm going to quarantine or go home. I mean, it's insane that people don't realize when they walk around their house that everything in their home came from farmers, came from blue collar workers, truck drivers, ships, our folks in the ports. I mean, these folks never stopped. And so we owe a great deal of gratitude to our truck drivers, our farmers, our ranchers, producers, processors, manufacturers, retailers, grocers. I mean, it is amazing to me how some people still act like you can click a button on Amazon and that it magically grows on a tree somewhere and a drone delivers it to you. Like, it's wild. But we have a real challenge right now and this is, I think, a couple of different reasons why we're here at this point in time. The average age of a truck driver today is 56. And we've created this culture where we've told all these kids for so long that, hey, you need to go to college and you need to go get a degree in psychology or underwater basket weaving or whatever, degree that, people come up with. But they have forgotten about the very important critical trades. And people have told me, oh, well, I don't want to go to 4 years of school and then become a truck driver. I'm like, you can make an incredible living, and it is important and honorable work. And there's such dignity in having that profession. So one of the things that we've done is a couple of things. One, we have worked with the insurance companies and a lot of the associations that work in this space to allow for apprenticeship programs for students that graduate high school to go to a truck driving school, get the number of required hours, engage in an apprenticeship, and then they're able to be insured by their employer, and they can actually get on the road. And the requirements are extraordinarily strict, but it allows for us to start filling that gap that's out there, because we continue to say, well, we need more people to drive trucks. But then we continue on the other side of the equation, say, you know what? You should go to school and you should get that psychology degree, and then you rack up $100,000 in student loan debt, and people then feel deflated. So I think, one, we have to do two things in making it so that people can get into the industry pretty easily, that we are not putting further regulations on our truckers. Just even some of the silly stuff, like you can have certain weights on the interstates and you can have certain state weights on the trucks on your state roads and your county roads, but it doesn't match up with the interstates. you would think that if we were to increase the weight on the trucks for the interstates, that would make sense to give parity with the state and county roads. But that's the federal government saying, no, we're not going to do that. Little simple things, little tweaks will go a long way. And to your point about our farmers and ranchers, I serve as the lone Republican on House Agriculture for the entire state of Florida. I grew up on a small cattle operation. I grew up rodeoing, and I am so blessed to serve in this capacity. But the challenges that we're facing from the Biden administration, literally breathing down our producers' necks every day from a regulatory standpoint, the cost of fuel, diesel is killing our producers, the fact that labor is virtually impossible to find, and then you tack on a bunch of EPA regulations that aren't designed to make food or people safer. It's just basically strangling the life out of our ag producers. So we have a real fight ahead of us. Next year is actually the Farm Bill, which dictates a lot of the farm policy. And we're really excited to have a hand in supporting Florida ag. I know that was a really long answer, but I wanted to hit all.
That's a great answer. I want to throw something else in there too, Kat. Dwight Allen, he's one of our great viewers. He's been following us a long time. We're really good friends with him. He said he wants to throw in about the railroad, and I'm into as well. The railroad didn't stop either. You have to get these in there for the truckers to be able to deliver. So the railroad has been really hard working during the COVID times, like you said, and even into now. And he was just saying that he hasn't had a raise in 3 years. So he was wondering if you're into with the railroads as well, not only with the trucking, but with the railroading as well.
You know, I actually had a group of folks representing different rail lines up in DC 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about some of the issues dealing with construction, shortage of materials. I know that in our area particularly, there's a lot of rail spurs and a lot of commerce that comes through. And so that's something that we've been keyed in with. We have definitely been talking with the associations about the issues. And so you have an advocate and an ally in us. I think that if people really understood the supply chain from start to finish, they would really appreciate how much goes into and how many touches on, you know, something simple like a piece of food or a meat product or an essential good is really being handled by so many elements of the supply chain, and trucks and rail, those are a huge component of that. So I appreciate his feedback and his comments.
All right. Hey, Michael, you know, by the way, we got Congresswoman Cammack on. I just got to ask you guys. Do y'all like baseball?
I do.
Is it baseball America's pastime?
It is.
It is.
And I enjoy a player that just takes full advantage
of
aggression,
the rule. No, it was within the rules.
Ruthless aggression to score. I love that. That's just passionate.
So, do you want to tell the viewers about a little baseball game that you had? America's pastime, beautiful baseball game.
Y'all are turning
you just
colors.
happened to plow into the catcher?
It was
great.
Oh, I am not ashamed of it at all. Okay, so see, what had happened was...
Okay, here we go.
What had happened was, so every year, this is 100-year plus tradition. Members of Congress play in the congressional baseball game. For over 100 years, it's been Republicans versus Democrats. It's all for charity. And this year we raised $1.7 million for children's charities. And we play in National Stadium. And some of my colleagues take this very seriously. Some of them played for the MLB. Some are professional, former athletes. Right. And they take it very, very seriously. In fact, we practice at 5 o'clock in the mornings.
Wow.
Yeah. So we definitely are up early. We practice early, and then we're already back on the Hill in the Capitol by 7 o'clock. So we practice for months and months and months. And I don't have quite the arm that some of my colleagues do, but I can run pretty dang fast, and I can hit pretty well. And so the coach decides to throw me in at the first inning, and so I stole the first base. I said, I went from first to second, stole the base.
Right.
And one of my colleagues, who's a former NFL player, steps up to the plate, knocks it, I think, almost out of the park. And I'm thinking, oh, man, okay. So I'm running from second to third. And at third base, the coach is a former 3-star general. And he is giving me the
Giving you the wave. Giving you the
And who am I to tell a 3-star
Of course.
general?
Well, no.
Right?
Yeah.
And
So you round the base and you're going home.
Yeah, so I'm going home, and I don't see it until it's too late at this point. The ball arrives at the catcher right about the time I'm about 10, 15 feet out. And I didn't know who the catcher was at the time, but all I knew was that this man was about 6'2", and he dropped down right in front of the plate in the baseline. And I'm 5'3" with T-Rex arms. So what am I going to do? Stop? No. I'm going to barrel through this dude. So I had a Pete Rose moment. And
I do have one question for you now. It ties into that one, and this is kind of a serious part like this one. So, following the game, Linda Sanchez, who's a Democrat from California, who apparently expressed her displeasure at the results of the game. Now, whether it was directed towards your teammates, whether it was directed towards somebody in the stands, that's still a subject of debate. But from my perspective, it really brings out the lack of civility. Are you finding that kind of as a trend through Congress, or was this kind of just a one-off thing because they were embarrassed at losing 10-0?
10-0, yeah.
Well, listen, I can tell you that from the first inning, because like when I trucked that poor catcher who turned out to be
I love that truck. Oh goodness.
The Democrat senator from Connecticut. When I took him out, I mean, and you can see the video, like we literally
You did.
I basically steamrolled the poor fella. He started complaining immediately. And so I'm like, well, that's kind of reflective of, politics today. And so then, fast forward a few innings, and she was she hit the ball and, got on first base and then swapped out for a runner. And as she was coming by our dugout, I saw her. She ran right by us, and I was standing right there, and she flipped us the bird. And I'm like, keeping it classy, San Diego. Okay. I mean, she's just... I never heard anybody say anything to her, but I mean, at that point it was 10-0, and I don't know if she thought she heard something, but I mean, I was standing right there. I never heard anybody say anything. I wasn't even quite sure why that happened, but that definitely made the news. And I think that it's really sad that, something like that happened at a game for kids charity. That's not what kids need to be learning. And
No.
That to me is really kind of sad, but I hope that the big takeaway from the game is really that we can actually come together and raise money for a good cause, and it's a long-standing tradition. So we look forward to next year.
I appreciate the fact. From me, I mean, I like the fact that you raised $1.7 million.
Yeah, that's.
I love the fact that you all came together, and I don't think actions by the Democrats are as memorable as the first inning, at least for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How about that?
So there you go.
I like the word trucked, by the way.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any other way to really describe it other than I trucked him.
There she is. She's back again. There we go. This happened to us a couple of times. It's a little bit of a... What do you think it is?
It's not on our end. It's something to do with something down the line.
Okay. Maybe Kat can fix it for us.
Maybe they're working on something down there.
That's fine.
And that's the reason why it's jumping in and out a little bit.
One last question for me. You want to read some more comments? And then
go ahead. Go ahead on the
question.
real
quick, so Kat, with the Speaker of the House in Taiwan and all the drama that's associated with that one, and you are back in Florida right now, is
there's been a rumbling that you might make an appearance in Bradford County on Thursday night at the candidate forum for a number of candidates that are running for local, state, and national elections. Are you possibly going to make an appearance in Bradford County Thursday night, or has that been broached, or is your calendar going to allow something like that to happen?
Yeah, I've had the same question asked of me as well.
Yeah, I'll be around for sure. We never, because of the recent death threats that we received, we aren't ever able to publish where we're going to be exactly and when. But I will definitely be in Bradford County, and I'm looking forward to seeing folks.
Good. All right. Just wanted to read over a couple of more comments, and then I want to talk about the southern border a little bit.
Yeah.
I know which is very heavy on your plate, and I know you've got a passion for that. What do you think about term limits? I know you've talked about that before. I've had a couple of questions about that. What do you think about term limits, and what does Cammack think they should be?
Well, that's a great question, because I'm someone who believes in term limits. And I think Nancy Pelosi is a great example of somebody who should not be serving for 36 plus years, but yet here we are. But the thing that I also believe is that term limits only work if everybody abides by them, right? Because what we have seen are good people who term limit themselves, and then they're gone, and then the same bad swamp creatures continue to have their careers. And so you take people out of the fight. So I think that we need to have term limits. I think that if we had a more engaged electorate that was really exercising their constitutional rights to kick the bad bums out and really keep the good ones in, we would not be having this conversation. But I think term limits are a good thing, and I am hopeful that next year, when we have the House and the Senate, we can actually have a serious conversation about getting that passed. It would be a constitutional amendment is what it would ultimately end up being. And do I think Biden would ever sign that? No. So this is something that's going to be a multi-year process, but it's something that we have the ability right now to kick the bums out. We need to exercise it, and we need to get people involved in the process. So that's where I'm at on that.
Kat, can you email Mitchell? Michael Box, I guess, didn't hear how he could get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Could you email, or maybe Mitchell's got it or whatever?
I'll put it in the comments.
You're going to put it in the comments?
Michael, you can always
Okay.
text Matt too.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I did have this question proposed. I'll ask it, and I'll let you decide if you want to answer it.
Sure.
You're running against two other candidates
Well, they're running
in
against
the
me.
primary. Justin Waters and a man named Manuel Asensio. Dave Holland wants to know, do you have an opinion on them either way? I'll let you decide if you want to answer that question.
I don't know either of those men, so I can't form an opinion.
Okay, fair enough. That's great answers.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
all right. Again, some people want to talk about the southern border. You've been involved. I know you've been involved with our very own Sheriff Gordon Smith and several law enforcement officers. There you go. There it is.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. And I know you've been involved with several other sheriffs and law enforcement. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on down there, the progress that you've made up until this point, and what to look for in the future?
Yeah, no, we could do an entire hour on the border, because it is so disgustingly broken what is going on. And of course you see, the Border Patrol hat over my shoulder, and Texas DPS, they're running a major Operation Lone Star down there in Texas to try to secure the border. This is without a doubt an invasion, a public health crisis, a humanitarian crisis, but most importantly, this is a national security crisis. There is no question that anyone can deny the fact that when you have people on the international terrorist watch list being apprehended, at this point, just this year, 56 of those individuals on the international terrorist watch list have been apprehended at the border. This is a problem. This is a crisis. It cannot stand. And a nation without borders is not a sovereign nation. So when we talk about this issue, and it always is somebody who comes at it from a different viewpoint. I've talked a lot about the trafficking of people that occurs. Literally, the cartels will give you a wristband that is a certain color. It has a number on it, and it designates how much you have paid the day that you are being shepherded across the river, and which cartel you belong to. Because no one crosses the border without the blessing and the paying of the cartels. It does not happen. The cartels today control 40% of Mexico. Just let that sink in. The cartels control 40% of Mexican territory today. And the fact that the entire border is controlled by the cartels, and this is a pay per head type of operation where the average payment is about $6,000 per person. Doesn't matter if it's man, woman, or child. They're going to get a minimum of about $6,000. And for the more higher profile nationalities, like if you're coming from Cuba or from Venezuela, Colombia, any of the South American countries, you're going to be paying upwards of $9,500 to $10,000. For Chinese nationals, they pay upwards of $75,000 per Chinese national. And it is absolutely disgusting what we have seen. So sitting on Homeland Security, we have jurisdiction over the border. And when people say, oh, well, we're not a border state. Well, actually, we're a border state on three sides. Yeah. We have 1,400 miles of coastline where we see people running drugs up the beaches. We have people that will drop boats of people off and they'll run up. This is a very, very serious issue, not just for border towns, but for every single community in America. And I use a great example. And as you said, Sheriff Gordon Smith has been to the border with me 2 times already. And he has seen firsthand, talking with Homeland Security investigations, talking with Texas DPS, which is the law enforcement agency, with Border Patrol. All of these agencies have said, oh, not only are all these narcotics coming across the border and landing in your communities, but the criminals, the MS-13s, the gang members, these people are literally being dropped into our communities, and they are thriving off of the fact that the Democrats want to defund police while simultaneously disarming Americans, and there's no recourse. So in Marion County, for example, there were 2 bricks of fentanyl found in about a 12-month period. This was enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in Marion County about 11 times over. And what they found when they busted this couple, that it was 2 illegals that were here, the bricks of fentanyl had a stamp on each brick that was of a Mexican cartel. And they had these pill presses where they were doing kind of a beta testing in our area, going up 301, up I-75, across I-10. And of course, we know Stark, has 301 right there. It's become a pass-through for these drug runners. And they were testing out these fentanyl pills. And when you think about these pills that are sometimes made to look like Adderall or other types of prescription medication, these kids and other people are buying them on social media thinking they're taking something that's actually fentanyl, and they're overdosing. And it is all tied directly back to the border and the open border policies. It's the most heartbreaking stuff. And of course, all the raw material is coming from China. And we know that. We have hard evidence through investigations that have proven time and time again that the raw material for fentanyl and methamphetamine, it's all coming from China. And the Chinese government is complicit. They know that this is happening. So you have the narcotics issue, which is absolutely killing our communities. Not a single person in America today is not affected by the opioid crisis, because the number 1 cause of death for individuals between 18 and 45, it's not COVID, it's not climate change, it is fentanyl. They're overdosing. And these are record numbers. And, Michael, you know this better than anybody, being a first responder. The calls that you and my husband, Matt, and folks that are in the department, they respond to, we know the overdoses that are happening on a daily basis. And so you have that element of it. Then you also have the human trafficking element. And I'll share with you this story, because this particular situation has absolutely cost me some of my I honestly feel like I can't sleep well at night knowing what happens at the border these days. I met a 9-year-old little girl who came alone. She was being trafficked across. A coyote was pulling her and a group of people. But when I saw her in the processing facility, because what happens is people will get shepherded across by the coyotes and the cartels, and the cartels tell them, go find a Border Patrol agent and turn yourself in. They want to be apprehended. And what happens then is they turn over all their possessions, whatever they have on them. They go to the processing facility, and there in the processing facility, they are there for maybe 72 hours to 96 hours, and then they are given a plane ticket or a bus ticket to wherever they want to go in the United States. That's the process. And all of that is paid for by we, the American taxpayers. So the unaccompanied children, however, they go through a little bit of a different process. So this little girl, she was 9 years old, and one of the agents pulled me off to the side and said, hey, see if you can get this little girl to talk to you. And I walk up to her, and you can tell this little girl has been traumatized. And she's trying to tell me her name, and her vocal cords were just, her voice was cracking. And finally, the agent told me later on, he's like, she can't talk to you because her vocal cords have given out from screaming. We found her when she was being gang raped by members of the cartel. This little girl's 9 years old. And this is the kind of stuff that happens on a daily basis. And for people in Washington, particularly my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, to say, the border's secure, it's fine, this doesn't happen. Where's your heart? How do you sleep at night knowing that little kids are being used as pawns and trafficked for the gain of the cartels? And the thing that makes it even worse, this entire situation, is that, and I've said this repeatedly, and I stand by it, we do not have a commander-in-chief. We have a trafficker-in-chief, because this administration continues to allow for this type of activity to go on by not enforcing the laws on the books. If they enforce the laws on the books, they wouldn't be using these children as pawns to run drugs. They wouldn't be making billions of dollars with a B, which is really perpetuating the problem even more, because they're setting up infrastructure and networks that rival that of the government of Mexico. So this government, this Biden administration, is empowering the cartels, and they're doing it at the expense of our national security, our sovereignty, and off the backs of these children that are being horrifically abused in the process. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Right.
I'm very passionate about the border and the border security, because I believe our national sovereignty and security is on the line. And I work very closely with the Border Patrol agents and the council. I'm proud to be endorsed by the National Border Patrol Council. And they're actually, this is something that I would love for you guys to participate in. They're going to be coming to Florida to join me on the campaign trail to talk about the experiences and what they see, not just in Texas, but in New Mexico, in Yuma, Tucson, Arizona, and in California, the entire border. They're going to have a crew of agents that come down and really share the story, and more importantly, talk about ways that everyday Americans can help fight back against the open border policies. So thank you for giving me the platform to talk about this, because it's clearly something that keeps me up at night. And until we secure that border, I don't think we can rest.
That's a horrific story that you just said right there. But, people need to be aware of these are the things that are going on down there. Just because they don't see it and they hear it, sometimes they don't believe it until there's eyes laid on it, or somebody like you comes on that has seen this firsthand and has told this story. Again, none of us condone this. Anybody that's, like you said, a human being wouldn't condone this. And we really, a lot of people on the comments have really said they appreciate your work down there on the border, and keep up the great work with you and your teams down there. I know that Mitchell has a question for you. Mitchell, did you have a question for Miss Kat?
Well, one of the things that I have noticed, they're shipping a lot of these illegals to Democratic states, and they're actually starting to feel the effects of it, because now they're running out of monies to support their own citizens in their communities, and they are now starting to holler back at Joe Biden and the administration and say, hey, we cannot support this. We are out of funds. We can't even help our own people, and you're putting us in this predicament. And so that right there really shines a big light on it, that it is not a lie. This stuff is really, happening.
Yep.
And one of the things I would like to know, as citizens of this country, is there anything that we can help do to further protect our border to the south? Is there a possibility later on, when Congress and the Senate may go all red, that there's the ability to work with Mexico and try to take care of these cartels and totally remove them?
So, and you're 100% right. I mean, this is obscene. And I get so many messages from people asking, what can we do? What can we do? And the big thing is, it's not enough for us to just vote anymore, right? I mean, especially if you have a member that's, keyed in and supports border security, that's when we have to step up and say, okay, what members don't support border security? Because now we've got to go help. Because when you're at the federal level, we all have the exact same vote. So I am one vote, one voice. And I think we do a pretty good job of exposing the craziness of the border situation. But, there's always much more that can be done. And so, one, it's share good information and keep this issue on the forefront. It's very easy for people to chase the headlines of the day and be like, yeah, we know that the border is a problem. But, here's the new thing of the day, the new crisis, right? Because it's like, you see what's happening with China today and everyone's freaking out. Meanwhile, 8,000 people just crossed over into our border. Which one of them could potentially have a dirty bomb on them, or, what type of people are coming across? We don't know. And somebody asked me about the comments from the DC mayor, Muriel Bowser, and the New York mayor, Eric Adams. They started complaining about all the illegals that were being dumped into their cities. And I have this to say. If you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And in this case, they won the stupidest prize of them all. They are literally breaking the backs of their citizens to try to accommodate all of these people and feed them, give them cash, food stamps, housing vouchers, free health care. It's absurd. And when you go on the websites of these particular cities like Washington, D.C. or New York City, and you type in a little search engine of I am a non-citizen, what can I get in this city? It will list out all the benefits that they have, which is extraordinary to me, because we have people in our country, like our veterans and our working class families, that don't even qualify for some of these benefits. So it's just a real slap in the face to American citizens who may have fallen on hard times, or in the case of our veterans who have given everything to this country, who don't even get half of the consideration that some of these folks do. This is exactly why America First is a real legitimate policy position. And we have to be serious about it. So I said that publicly, and people said, I think that's very insensitive for you to say that. They're dealing with real problems. I'm like, well, maybe if the administration enforced the laws on the books, we wouldn't be in this predicament. but here we are. So you want to be a sanctuary city like New York or Washington, D.C. or Chicago or L.A., you're going to deal with the consequences of that. And that's why I think here in Florida, we have so many people moving, fleeing these blue states.
Kat, and I know we get a little.
It's frozen.
Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, we lost.
Okay.
Well,
Anyway, Kat, can we get her just so at least just so she can say goodbye to us? Maybe we can try to get her back on real quick. I hate to drop it like that. But while we're waiting on her, Michael, we're still on.
Yes, we are.
I tell you, we've had some great guests tonight.
Yeah,
we've had Rick Stevenson.
Yep.
And Jimmy Smith talking about the barbecue, the BFFL rib cook-off. Got that going on. You just heard for the last almost 50 minutes. Can you believe 50 minutes went like that? Miss Cammack is on, was on there and talking about several different things. And I tried to get to everybody's comments. Hope I got to most of them. We'll try to let her answer most of them. Mitchell?
Yeah, one of the biggest things I wanted to bring up, I think the reason why this administration is letting this happen is because they believe if they keep those borders open and they can move these individuals from, town to town, they believe they may later on get their citizenship and become Democrats. Right. But the thing is, most of these people are leaving governments that is like socialism,
yes,
to get here.
They don't want it.
Do you really think that they are going to vote Democrat? No, it's going to be a big slap in the face to the Democratic Party because majority of these people are going to vote Republican because they don't want to live in that type of life that they just came from.
I agree with that, and they're saying we're frozen, Mitchell. But I mean, I'm moving my hands. I think it's all good here. But if you could get Kat back on real quick, we're going to go ahead and do a couple of other things. Let's talk about Michael real quick about trivia.
Okay.
Trivia on Wednesday nights at Fun Point.
That's correct.
7:00 sharp, straight up and down.
That's right.
You start that trivia deal,
Yep.
and I tell you, you've been doing really good over that way. 6 to 7 teams, even through the summer.
Yep.
You've been doing really good.
Yep.
Speak about Wednesday night trivia real quick, and I'll talk about Thursday night.
Yeah, so real quick trivia. Best thing we are doing, we're having a great time with it. We encourage everyone to come out Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. At Fun Point. We have some great categories. We're doing Name That Tune. We're doing
That tune, I like that.
we're doing an on the spot What's the Date category. So if you watch the show here, come out to Fun Point on Wednesday nights. Join us for some fun time as well. Best category of all is You Gotta Be Kidding.
I thought it was the What's the Date. Has it changed?
It's definitely getting momentum.
Okay.
But everyone loves the You Gotta Be Kidding category. That's why I give you a crazy, stupid law still on the books. Somewhere in the United States, I give you the law, you give me the state. It's not as difficult as you may think. A lot of fun. We give away a lot of free food. Have a great time doing it. Again, that's 7 o'clock Wednesday nights at Fun Point. Followed up by this guy on Thursdays.
Thursday nights, Downtown Grill, 7:30. We kick off 30 minutes right after Michael does his on Wednesday. We kick off at 7:30. Downtown Grill, Thursday night team trivia with me, your host. Hey, got great food, just like it is over at Fun Point. Great drinks.
That's right.
Hey, almost set up about the same. Okay.
No, we're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
So anyway, okay, just make sure we're good. Anyway, Thursday nights, 7:30. I have a category called And the Answer Is. Well, and the answer is for this week, the word is passion. Passion. It'll be coming up right there on the screen.
It is.
Look at there. Mike, that could be fruit passion.
Could be.
That could be passion.
Yes, it could be.
It could be whatever. Whatever we decided to come up with.
I don't know, but I've seen you at trivia. And if there's one thing I can say about it, you are
Passion.
about it.
Good grief. Here we go. Anyway,
just
that's
saying.
the trivia on Wednesday and Thursday nights. All right, Mike, do we have time to do What's the Date?
I was going to say was...
do we want to save it?
Let's save it because
Okay.
next week because we were running late like this one. So what
Right.
we'll do a quick weather.
Yeah.
And next week, we're going to do our What's the Date segment next week. So nothing this week. Next week, and
We gotta pull a winner.
We draw a winner.
Oh,
for
that's
the month of
right.
July. That's right. So we are going to pull a winner next next Tuesday night.
Right.
I will be here for that. That
Yep.
works out great. So join us next Tuesday night as we will have you What's the Date as well as the we pull a winner for the month of July.
Exactly. And we've also got Mitchell, and I don't know if Michael even knew this, but I think he's seen it. Mr. Tom Germano's coming on.
That's right.
Yes.
Tom Germano's coming on.
Yes.
He is running for Bradford Commissioner, District 4.
Yes.
He's running against not only himself. No, Guy Germano. I didn't know his name was Guy. Does he go by Tom or is he like Guy?
He goes by Tom.
He goes by Tom. So Tom Germano, Christiane M. Hudson,
Yes.
Danny Reddick, the incumbent,
Yes.
and Patricia Tucker. 4 people running in that district, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm looking through everything that you've handed me, that's the most out of anybody.
That is correct. Yeah,
As far as the local races
yeah,
go.
as local races go, you're also going to have the City Commission District 2, or excuse me, City
Yeah.
Commission District 5, rather. You've
Yeah.
got 3 candidates in there. County Commission District 2, you're going to have, you've got 3 candidates there, but
Yeah.
the District 4 is going to have 4 candidates. I believe all of them are going to be present at the candidate forum this Thursday night,
Yes.
6:30 p.m. at the Bradford County Fairgrounds. Encourage you to come out. And to that, you'll get an opportunity to hear what the candidates have to say. They're going to have a few minutes to speak, and then there'll be a moment where they'll be able to answer any questions. So again, if you get the opportunity, you're looking to decide who you want to vote for, make sure you turn out for the event this Thursday night, the candidate forum, 6:30 p.m. at the fairgrounds.
And guess what? We forgot to mention about District 1. Hey, City of Stark Commissioner, District 1, Michael Heater will be speaking at that. He is running against the incumbent Danny Nugent. Ought to be a good race. 2 guys right there. So let's find out what happens there. We've got all the local candidates here. Like Mike said, you'll be able to see those guys on Thursday at 6 o'clock. That's at the fairgrounds, right, Mike?
That is correct, 6:30 at the fairgrounds.
Yep. So you'll be doing that. WEAG Eagle Country 106.3. We'll be there, Mr. Chuck Kramer, and we'll be there as well, bringing that to you live for everybody that can't come out, Mitchell, that for whatever health reason, whatever, and they want to know what's going on, they can catch it with us on the spot with David Rodgers. We bring it to you first, fast and furious, each and every time, right, Mike?
Sounds like a plan to me.
I hear we got that camera back.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Oh, we don't?
Oh, I thought you was telling me. Hey, I thought.
No, don't forget to mention that cat.
Oh, yeah.
Will be at.
Yeah.
We-
As
we-
much
we-
as we can.
We are hoping.
We're hoping.
We're anticipating.
Anticipating that she will be there.
Yeah, nothing is set in stone yet, but yes, we are anticipating Kat. We're hoping that Kat will join us at the candidate forum on Thursday night as well. This is an opportunity for you to come out and really get a view and an earful on what you want from your leadership. I made the comment beforehand, and I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, and I'm not going to talk like this one, but this is where it begins. If you want serious changes, serious improvements, serious moves in a certain direction, it starts at the local level, and then it moves from there. And some people are going in there to maybe change a policy.
Sure.
Some people may be going there to change a procedure or an ordinance like that. Some of us are going there to change the culture. So this is your chance to come out and hear what we've got to say, because some things that I say, you may not have actually ever heard somebody say before. But if you're passionate about it and you really want to make some changes to do things for this community, then you owe it to yourself to come out and make an informed decision. And the best way to do that is to attend the forum and get it straight from the candidates themselves.
And that's exactly right. And that leads up to what I want to say, and Kat even hit it as well. Like Michael said, it starts at the local level. Hey, if you're passionate about a certain thing, and he or another candidate or whatever talks about it, and it's very passionate to you, and that's where your vote should go. Yep. Make sure your vote counts, whether it's local, like he said, races, national races, state races, whatever the case may be. Go out and listen at these forums. Look these guys in the face, men and women. You'll know what they're talking about if you know what they're talking about, or they know what they're talking about. You know if they're telling you the truth of what they're going to do. Because, Mike, what's everybody says, you can read in somebody's eyes and somebody's face if they're telling you the truth. And you get a good feeling about it. That's who you go vote for. Don't vote for because you don't like Michael Heater. What if Michael Heater has great ideas? You shouldn't because you don't like somebody. And I think that's what's a lot happened to Trump. Back in the day, people didn't like him, so they voted for the other candidate just because. Don't do that. That's a waste of a vote. Isn't it, Mike? It's a waste of a vote. Listen to their ideas. Listen to their creator. Listen to what they're going to do for you. If that's your candidate and you may not like him, hey, you may need to do some soul searching and go, hey, maybe I still go vote for him because at the end of the day, it's going to do me good.
It could be.
So, guys, I hate to close out the show, man. It's been a great one. So, let's do the weather real quick, Mike.
And I want to do weather because there's some breaking weather news that you need to know about. So let's start with the pollen because this is the important one here. Take a look at the pollen numbers. We haven't seen these numbers in a while. Look at the screen. 7s, 7.5, 7.7 is making our way through the weekend. The grass pollen is really starting to make an appearance, and pine is starting to make a return. For those of you that live with squirrels, you'll know that the pine cones are starting to fall, and they're starting to get into so we're starting to get back into the pollen season. So if you have allergies, seasonal allergies, unfortunately, it's going to start affecting you. The only saving grace of that is that we get an air cleaning, so to speak, with some rain and thunderstorms. I don't know where you guys were last night, but we had a heck of a storm roll through downtown Stark last night. Really, I mean, it dumped a lot of rain, a lot of thunder and lightning after dark. It was great to hear for those of us that have no roofs. Worked out really well. Regionally, take a look at the forecast. Nice conditions, Charlotte, Nashville, areas like that, north of Atlanta, beautiful conditions. South of that, not so much. Chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. It's the normal summertime pattern that we're going to be looking at each and every afternoon. The good news is that the dust from the Sahara is coming across here, so we're going to have a chance of rain on Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday clearing out pretty good. Still going to have high heat indexes, but the best part about that is that the tropical disturbance area is going to drop off. Again, looking at temperatures in the 90s with lows in the 70s, sun dropping in there, but you're going to see a decrease in tropical activity and some beautiful sunsets in between those showers and storms as we make our way through the rest of the week.
Wow, hey, that was a great weather report, Mike. Real quick, somebody said, what's the tropics look like? You want to get into it?
So real quick.
Anything on the horizon?
Nothing on the horizon. Best part about this is that once again, now we're entering the Cape Verde season. So for those of you that are tropical nerds like me, that's where we see in June and July we get tropical disturbances that form in the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche, the Caribbean Sea. Now we turn our attention out to the African coast, the Cape Verde Islands, which is located off the African coast. That's where we see the tropical waves coming off of Africa. They get a little spin. They form tropical systems as they move across the Atlantic. Not happening in the next week or so because there's so much Saharan dust. Dust from the Saharan desert is being caught up in the trade winds blowing across the Atlantic Ocean. So there's no chance, because of the dry air, that we're going to see any tropical development for the next 5, 10, possibly even 12 days.
Wow.
However, and I want to emphasize this one. We're having it's a very weak season. The numbers are dropping. The estimations are, we're not going to see as much tropical activity. Don't be fooled. 1992, we had nothing until the middle of August. I mean, no tropical storms whatsoever. And that was, we only had like 3 or 4 systems that entire year. Unfortunately, one of them was Hurricane Andrew. So don't be lulled into a false sense of security just because we're having a little bit of a lull in the tropics. Stay tuned. Pay attention to your local emergency management teams. Make sure that you're prepared with a plan for your family. You have a disaster supply kit ready in case we lose power for several days. All these things that you can do. Check out your county's emergency management program for Bradford County. My office and Director Witt's office, we're located here at the Sheriff's Office. We are at Bradford Emergency on Facebook. Find us, and you can download the information that you need to help keep your family prepared and safe this hurricane season.
I knew you was going to give it. Look out. But hey, I'm glad you said for the next 10 to 15, maybe to 12 days or so. That's always great news. So we don't have to worry about it in that aspect. I do want to say, if we can, real quick, let's say hello to Alvy.
Oh,
She says,
absolutely.
He said he's sick, so I'm going to say hi for him. I guess he must be sleeping.
That's okay.
Hello, Alvy. Hello, Tammy. Tell Alvy, give him a kiss from us, and tell him that we want him to get better. I know school's coming up, and I know he wants to be ready for that. So please tell Alvy we love him. We missed him tonight, but hey, we'll be on next week. And don't forget, On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers, hey, featuring our host, Mr. Mitchell Gunner, along with Alexis Gatlin, his co-host. Have you seen her?
I have.
Hey, very nice looking girl, very knowledgeable, very smart.
Very knowledgeable.
On motorsports. She races as well.
Yes.
Mitchell, not sure what's going on exactly with that, but we do know that there is an upcoming show.
Yes, we're probably not going to have one this week. I think we just have too many irons in the fire right now.
Yep.
Plus, we're also getting pretty close to the end of the season now at Gainesville Raceway, so there's a lot of points being switched back and forth, and everybody wants to at least try to be in those top spots to qualify for divisional finals in South Georgia. So we probably will not do a show this week. But I have been in contact with a couple of people trying to line some things up.
Okay, that is awesome.
And that works because we now On the Spot Motorsports moving to Thursday nights, correct?
Not sure.
Down the road.
We may have to swap it back because Miss Alexis Gatlin is going to be coaching some softball and baseball.
Right, but the thing is that this Thursday night we're looking at hopefully having On the Spot with
Mitchell,
yes. So there's good. That's some of the transition as well. But if you have been watching On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers featuring Mitchell Gunner, you really should tune in.
Yes.
If you have any interest in motorsports, that is the place to be because he covers a wide variety of things. It's really really great
we did some testing out there this past Saturday before I came over there and did an event with you.
Yeah.
We did some track camera work there. It looks like it's going to work. We just got to figure out a couple of things, Michael and Mitchell, how to keep the equipment cool, how to keep it situated, but it looked really good. Had a lot of people say, wow, that is the shot that I want to see. But we got to figure out how to keep this stuff cool, Mitchell, or it's going to cut off.
Well, I tell you, after you left, we were out there racing. The track temperature actually got up to, on one gun, it was 143. On another gun, 148 was the actual track temperature.
Goodness.
And, of course, I tell you, usually when you start getting temperatures that high, the track becomes very slick. So cars will move around a lot. But I tell you what, the Gainesville crew, they've done such a great job, giving us a great surface to race on. A lot of people didn't even have any problems, including myself, with traction. So my hat goes off to them, working in all that heat all day long, and they worked over 9 hours.
Yes, they did.
It was over 9 hours.
I want to give a shout out to somebody too, Derek Putnam. I don't know if you're watching or not. Derek, you and your crew do an outstanding job. Yes. By the way, Derek, you are a heck of a play-by-play guy when it comes to that racing. Hey, you know the terminologies, you know everything to do with that. We appreciate you giving us shout outs at the track, and I want to give you a shout out for you and your team over at the Gainesville Raceway doing a great job this past weekend and even weekends prior to that. Y'all do a great job out there. Thank you for having Mitchell and us out there. Real quick, 15 seconds, last minute words.
Yeah, I just want to, again, iterate, if you like this show, it's pretty much somewhat the same format over there, except, we're talking about motorsport racing. Last Thursday, we actually had a great guest on, Jason Garver. You can always go back and watch all of those episodes either on Facebook or even go to your smart TV, log in On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers. You can catch all of that plus all the racing action from Gainesville Raceway, which we've got some really big races that we're going to be live streaming. That's why we're working on all this stuff. Some great opportunities down the road, hopefully to go to some other places. So just go over there and like the page. It may not. We might have someone on that's not appealing for you. You might not like drag racing, but the next week, hey, we might have someone that runs Formula One or one IndyCar
dirt track
or local racers. and Bradford and the surrounding area. So come on over and watch it. You'll have a great time. And, of course, my co-host, Alexa.
Yep.
What a great...
she's been a really great addition.
Been.
She's been a great addition to the show.
She has.
So, Michael, real quick. 15 seconds. What you got?
Hey, 15 seconds. All I can say is
20 seconds.
come out and join us Thursday night. I'm not going to toot my own horn. I've got other
go
people
ahead.
to do that one. But I want you guys to come out and learn. Embrace what we are trying to build now with the local elections. Again, I cannot reemphasize what Kat has said, what the county commission candidates are saying, other commission city candidates are saying. This is your election. This is we appreciate your vote because we know that your vote is your voice. You want to be heard. I myself, I'm listening.
There you go. Just a couple of things. I want to thank our guests. I want to thank Jimmy Smith and Rick Stevenson for coming in. Second annual rib cook-off that's going to be happening on August the 27th. Yes. I want to thank Congresswoman Cammack for coming on. I know we lost her. I'd like to get her back on, Mitchell, if we can. At some point, maybe we can reach out to her.
Well, we would like to also, she said those gentlemen.
Yes, gentlemen that's
going to be coming around.
Yes.
That's been around Texas and New Mexico.
Maybe we can get them to come on the show.
And that's my point exactly.
Yeah, maybe we can get them. We'll talk to Kat about that. But I also want to talk about something also that we're creating as well. Mitchell Gunner's going to help us. I know Michael's going to help us. Michael was at the Tornado Touchdown Club meeting last night. Lasted a couple of hours. We hadn't had one in a while, but they had a lot of information to put out and great information. I know maybe we can get into that a little bit later on. But what it's leading to, what I want to say is, me and Mr. Byron Bagwell, we will be doing a coaches show each and every week, starting here probably within the next couple of weeks. Yes. Mitchell Gunner is going to get himself set up on that through StreamYard. It's going to be called the Bradford Tornadoes show featuring head coach Jamie Rodgers. So tune in for that. Sounds like we may be doing this at Beef O'Brady's. Talked to Jimmy just a little bit today about that. So that's where that show's going to come on. But I know that Kurt Miracle wants to sponsor that part of it as well. So we may have a double sponsor with Kurt Miracle and Beef O'Brady's. But that's where it sounds like we'll solidify all that. But here, look out for the next couple of weeks. There will be another show that will be Monday nights, hosted by me and Mr. Byron Bagwell. But if he's not able to come, Michael Heater can fill in. Mitchell Gunner can fill in. Dave Holland can fill in. We'll get a fill in to help us out. And again, hey, Monday nights. Hey, Coach's Show. Tornadoes Coach's Show. Tornado football season coming up here in just a little bit as well, and we'll get more to that. On behalf of Mr. Mitchell Gunner, our producer, Mr. Michael Heater, our director, and filling in as a co-host tonight, Mr. Byron Bagwell, absent tonight because he had a prior engagement commitment, and Mr. Dave Holland, who is recovering from surgery. Thank you guys, David and Shirley and JD. A lot of people saying this was a great, great show, and it was. Thank you very much. I'm your host, David Rodgers. God bless you guys. Have a great night, a great week. Don't forget about Thursday. That's right. Excuse me, at the fairgrounds, candidate forum. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.